So I just wanted to pop in at the very beginning of this video. I do go into a long story time about how we purchased our vehicle, some of the horror stories that we had dealing with some of the people selling vehicles, and some of the good experiences as well. But I get into some of the overall details that just help you feel what you should feel in those situations, so you understand my context when I decided, hey, I'm just going to shut down business with this person, they get a bad star review, those kinds of things. So if you're interested in just getting the actual tips, those are at the very end of the video. I'll leave a time code right here so you can just jump directly to that state and get the tips that you're looking for. If you want the full context, the full story, go ahead and listen to this like a podcast, and I will give you all the context you could ever want in your entire life. So feel free to listen either way you desire, and there's no problem at all. Thanks for watching. Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're doing a couple of little chores, a couple things I need to do. Pick up one or two things from the grocery store, put some gas in the car for Monday, and we should be all set. But today I thought it was appropriate to do this in the car because we're going to be talking about how we got this car. But a little montage, we'll go where we need to go, and then we'll be right back. So let me just kind of set the scene really quick. Essentially, we had a situation where we both have cars right now. I was driving our oldest car because I have a really long commute, 165,000 miles on it, and it was a 2007 in 2019, so about 12 years old car. And it's seen some things. Essentially, it's been through some wrecks. It's been through a couple of major events, and one the previous year with the transmission. You can check out a link to a story about that if you're interested. But I was driving back to work from lunch one day, and I was driving up to the final light right before I just pull into the parking lot. It's like maybe a maximum of 100, 200 feet after this light to get back into my parking lot. So I'm coasting up to the light, I'm not hitting the accelerator, and all of a sudden I just hear this pop sound. Let me grab the rest of that gas. Hello there, beautiful. Back to montage. So after that large pop noise, I'm wondering what the hell is going on with my car, and all of a sudden I hear this giant engine sound that just gets shoved into my passenger seat. It sounds like somebody opened up my car door, rode a Harley Davidson into my passenger seat, started parking it, and just started revving the engine anytime I hit the accelerator. So this is getting ridiculous at this point. My high efficiency, high miles per gallon, totally eco-friendly, low emissions, high mileage vehicle turned into a monster truck in the middle of this intersection. At this point, I'm coasting up to the red light because I'm kind of scared to touch the accelerator, and I'm hoping this red light needs to turn to a green light. Please, Lord God Almighty, turn this red light into a green light so that I do not have to stop this vehicle because I'm pretty sure it's going to explode. Thankfully, the red light turns to a green light. I kind of coast through the intersection. At this point, I'm just going 10 miles an hour. As soon as it turns green, I hit the accelerator, then, the Harley revs up, and I feel like I can't hit it very often. So I think I hit a maximum speed limit at 15 miles an hour going up this little slight incline all the way up to work. It's like 200 feet, but it's all the way, and it's a slight incline, so I have to hit the accelerator to get anything, and I'm not getting much actual acceleration, so I have to hit the accelerator even more, and that just revs the engine so much harder. So I finally get to the parking lot. I'm finally at work and I'm safe. I back into a parking space because I'm like that. I spend the extra 15 seconds doing that. And I'm finally stopped. As soon as I'm able to, I just hit the park, turn off the engine. The windows are already rolled down because it started smelling like fumes on my way up. As soon as I was hitting the accelerator, it just smelled like gas, and I was just going all the way up. I get to the top and I had to roll the windows down at some point, so the windows are down, both my car doors are open because I'm worried about fumes and getting a gas concentration in my cabin and causing an issue, a fire issue. And at this point I've attracted a scene of coworkers. Coworkers looking at the car. Sorry, I had to change spots because my phone got really hot. So I got the car parked. I got it parked, turned off the engine. Everything was fine at that point. It did still smell like a little bit like gas in the car, and I had to get out, so I just jumped out, put down all the windows. The windows were already down, so I just popped open the trunk and I'm like, all right, let me figure it out. I have some coworkers who are really good with cars that were curious about what was going on with it. So they came over, helped me check it out. We found the problem. The spark plug blew out of the top of the engine. And, you know, that's important. And just for layman's terms, essentially, there was now a hole in one of the explosion chambers inside the engine, which was causing the problem. Gas was spewing out of the top of the engine whenever it was getting injected into the chamber, and that's where the gas smells came from, and it wasn't combusting, so because the spark plug was gone, and the spark plug holder was gone, and half of it was melted off. And I had the car towed over to using AAA to one of our mechanics. They checked it out, used a borescope, checked out the hole where the spark plug was, and essentially the spark plug blew out, ripped the threads along with it. And the typical approach is you basically poke a bigger hole inside the engine, weld in a new cylinder with a pre-tapped hole, and then you screw the spark plug into that. We were looking at $2 to $3 grand depending on where we got it done. Our general mechanic could not do it. He would send it off to a weld shop, and that was going to take weeks, and it was going to take a significant amount of time, weeks, and it was going to take way too much money, especially for the value of the car at that time. So we're looking at a $2,000 to $4,000 bill, and we're like, nah, the car's not worth that, so we need a new car. So one thing I will say is, in those situations, it's easy to just panic, say I need a new car tomorrow, I need to get back and forth to work, this is not going to work. Nicole has new job obligations which make using one car for both of us impossible because she has to transition between locations at least once every single day, and she needs a car for that, and I need a car to get back and forth to work. And her driving me to work and coming back is gonna just basically shoot 2 hours out of the day. So a one-car household does not work for us. Another significant difference between this repair situation and our previous transmission situation is that we had finished paying off our debts, and we were about halfway through an emergency fund in order to, you know, set up ourselves stably. So we had some money set aside for a situation that necessitated using it, and we figured this is probably the best time to use the emergency fund that we have so far with whatever cash we scraped up in order to purchase a car. So we made that active decision, we declared this an emergency, and we decided how much money we have set aside in order to mitigate this emergency. So get a new car that is going to be reasonable for us for long term. I talked to my employer about my car situation. I didn't even have to ask. They just offered, hey, if you just need to get back and forth from your house today, go ahead and just use one of the work cars that's just sitting here. I did that. I used the car to get back and forth to work, and we kind of came up with a couple plans. The first thing we did was we put together how much money we have available. We started looking at available cars in the market and figuring out what what our options were as far as like, do we have to go private sale? Can we go to dealers? Can we find a car online? Do we have to call a bunch of places and see what's available? Kind of what our options were. And by the time I went back to work the next day, we had a baseline plan. So when I got back to work, I figured out rental cars were in the area. I found one over the course of lunch that had a car available that was within reasonable price range. So we rented a car for a week to kind of extend out how much time we had to make the decision. And then I can give work back their car because they do need it. I have a car to get back and forth to work now. So we're going to just kind of declare this emergency over the course of a week because that's when we're going to need a car again and we don't want to keep renting. So after that, we started doing some serious research about what cars were in the area. We had our budget number, and that kind of set what we could purchase. So from that, we picked out a year and a mileage expectation of what we were looking at. And from those two factors, we kind of decided what type of cars we were going to look for. So we're going to look for a very similar car to the one we had previously. It was a 2007 Honda Fit, and we wanted something that was compact, capable of some storage, had pretty good gas mileage, and was relatively reliable with a low amount of maintenance. And that was pretty much our standard. The only specialty feature we basically had for this car is it had to have an auxiliary cable so that I can connect up to it. I figure we're not going to have Bluetooth, we're not going to have backup cameras, we're not going to have all this new features that have come out in like the 2014 and later models. So it's not going to be the nicest car, but I didn't have the nicest car to begin with. So this is going to be an upgrade regardless of what we do. We did some research online about what was available at the time, figuring out what different car dealers were in our area, figuring out what kind of price points they were selling at to see if they were in our budget. And we called a few places, figured out what the prices were going to be for the cars, got a couple of quotes about what the final price would be based off of dealer fees and things like that. So we did a lot of online research for the rest of that week. So it was like from Tuesday up till Friday, we did a lot of research. During that week, and actually the following day after we figured we would be purchasing the car, we started doing some test driving. So we'd schedule a time with one of the dealers that was in the area. We'd meet up there, kind of do a test drive with them with a car that we thought we liked, and we would just kind of gauge it based off of what we did to see what we want to do on this longer expanded test. Are we willing to go for this price point in order to get the car that we want? Are we willing to go for this price point in order to get the car within budget? And essentially the idea was, how do we want to look for a car? Because neither of us has done it together before. So on Saturday, we had kind of a plan. We're going to go to these two major areas where there's a lot of dealers in that space so that we can look at multiple cars in the same day. And we had a really wide variety of our experiences with those dealers. Actually, the first dealer that we went to, we had a really great experience. He was a no pressure kind of guy. They had a car that was within budget. It had a lot of features that we thought we weren't going to get with the car. Really, really good storage. It was a Nissan Altima with low miles, good maintenance. It was previously owned by one person who was an old lady that just didn't need or couldn't drive a car anymore. Didn't have any accidents that were reported, at least on the Carfax. It was basically the perfect deal. In addition to that, they were going to take the Fit, the Honda Fit, sight unseen, and give us a significant amount of money that we thought we wouldn't be able to get for a broken car. So it worked out pretty well for both of us to go with that deal, but it was the first car that we actually looked at. And when it's the first car that you look at, you can't just say yes automatically. You can, but you don't feel good about your decision. So we decided, all right, it's 8 a.m. This is the first car. Let's go ahead and jump around to like two more cars, see what we like about those cars, and then we'll come back to this one. It's likely going to be here. So we're eating lunch. We're deciding what we're going to do as far as the finances go. Really awesome place, Max Bebo's. It's amazing. And we get a call from the dealer, and they say, yeah, the car's no longer available. And that was pretty sad. We were pretty sad about that deal. We were going to get a AAA towed down there. It was all going to be done for the day. We were going to be finished, and it would have been nice, but the car was gone. It was taken up, scooped up, because it was a great deal. It was a really good deal. So that's sad, but you know, I probably would not have felt good about that decision because it was the first car that we saw. So we did the right thing. It just cost us that deal, and it wasn't my car to begin with. So you can't really say they took my car or I feel bad about missing it, because it wasn't my deal, because I didn't say yes. All right, I didn't put down a deposit. I didn't state my intentions. I just said, all right, I'm interested in this car. If somebody puts up if I said something like, here's $100 deposit. If somebody is interested in this car, you give me final word to say I would like to increase my bid. And then we would go on. But I wasn't going to increase my bid because I had a budget. And it was the budget. It was the higher end of the budget. So we missed that deal. And that was sad. We passed by probably like 2 or 3 other dealers in that area, in that space. And we just kind of, at the very beginning, stated, here's what our budget is. This is final price. If you guys have anything, we'll check it out. But if you don't have anything, we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to waste your time. And they sent us on our way. And it wasn't a big deal. It was a 15-minute drop-in. Hey, hold on, let me get you with somebody. Let me check stock. All right, we're not sure we can meet that. And you know, whenever you have a budget that's set as low as we expected it, it's going to happen all the time if you're going to a dealer. But if you're going in that range to dealers, you have to have the expectation that the car is either fresh on their lot or it's been there for way too long. They had to fix it up, and now they're just trying to get rid of it to take their losses. We also had the situation where multiple dealers just wanted to change our budget. They would come up to us and say, well, we don't have that budget range, but we do have these other cars. Let me go ahead and pull that around. We started a conversation with one of the dealer representatives. Like I said, we're very upfront about what we plan on doing. We're paying cash. We have this much money available, and we're only going to pay that much.
Hey, that's really awesome. You guys have that much money available. So we're going to check stock. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go check stock, talk to my manager, see what we could do about getting you a car today.
So he walks back and talks to his manager. It takes him about 15 minutes. I actually accidentally walked back there with him while he was going back to go talk to his manager. And they said,
No, you're not supposed to be back.
We wait 15 minutes. The guy comes back and he says,
hey, so we have this really great car. We're gonna pull it around right now. They had to take it out of the shop because we just got it 2 days ago. It's gonna be a really great price. You're gonna love it. You're gonna check it out, and it's gonna be awesome.
So I say, hey, that's really awesome. This is the second time we've had a car that hit. So what's the car? He tells me what the car is. I don't remember.
Hey, my manager also wanted to talk to you about your budget.
So the guy comes out and he shakes my hand.
Hey, my name is X. I'm really happy you guys are here today. But hey, he was telling me that you guys have that very specific budget, which is awesome. I think that's going to make a really great down payment on your car. And I just want you guys to consider the reliability of the car that you're looking for.
The manager gives me this full-on story about how he's going to hold this car in inventory. It's a really great starter car. He was going to give it to his daughter for when she graduated. And it's a really reliable, it's pretty good car. And, you know, you really got to consider the reliability whenever you go into a car. And he's giving me this lecture about how our budget is not good enough to buy a reliable car. And I'm just, taking it because I just want to see where this goes at this point. It's more of an experimental expectation. What are you trying to get out of me at this point, at this stage? And where is this going?
So he gives me a little bit more details about what the make and the model of the car, the mileage, some of the history of it. He tells me that it needs a little bit of work because it was just an accident. The previous customer just bought a new car and traded it in. Just got it out of the shop, so it does need a little bit of work, but they're going to fix everything on it.
So at this point, I'm just ready to leave. Not just because I'm not interested in getting upsold on my budget. We had a budget, we have a plan. I'm not about to go into debt in order to purchase a car because that's not in the plan. You get this feeling that they're not listening to my statements. They weren't respecting what I had told them my plan was. And they assumed,
this is the first place he's coming. This is what he wants to do. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's just going to say yes to whatever we tell him.
So we start walking outside. So around the corner, they pull up this dented, flat-tired, dark car. And they expect me to get into it. We came in, we told them what our budget was, what our financial plan was. They listened. They went in the back, conspired about what they were going to do to upsell me in a vehicle, decided this is the car that he wants, brought that car around, took it out of the mechanic shop while it was not ready for presenting to a customer, decided to give me a 10-minute lecture on how my budget is not good enough and my financial plan is not good enough, proceeded to multiply my budget by 3 buy 3, pretending to go down to twice my budget in order to take my money and put it as a down payment towards a car that is dented, has a flat tire. So instead of saying, no, we don't have a car in that budget, but we do have this car, which is currently listed at this price, currently with our mechanic, and, it needs some work, it has a dent, it has a flat tire. Instead of fully giving me a disclosure, they decided they're just going to upsell me, give me a lecture, I'm going to go with it. After the lecture ended, before I could just refuse their statements, they pull around this dented, dark-colored, flat-tired car that just got pulled out of the mechanic shop, and they expect me to walk into it, go take a swirl around it, get into the driver's seat and test drive it. And I'm like, no, I'm leaving. In my head, I'm like, I'm not getting in that car. And in real life, I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to leave. All right, bye. So I just take Nicole's hand and we walk away. I'm not messing with it, all right? These guys disrespected me. These guys disrespected me and my budget and my financial plan, assumed I didn't know what I was doing, and they just decided that they were going to upsell me in a car, and that is disrespectful. So I left. The other bad experience that we had with the dealer is we found a car late in the weekend, and we wanted to go test drive it. So we figured, all right, we'll go test drive this one car. If we don't like it, we're going to rent a car again for the next week. We're going to figure it out over a longer period, and we're going to go from there. So we give the dealer a call. We talk to him, hey, what's going on with this car?
Yep, it's still here, ready to be looked at, test drive whenever you want, what time you want to show up.
We tell him a time. He says,
that's great, we'll be here, we're open till X.
All right, perfect. We'll drive over there in a little bit. We'll eat dinner, then we'll go over there so we don't feel pressure. So I just call him and ask him to confirm what the address is of the location. And he says, yeah,
I can just text that to you.
The time runs around. We get out in that area, and I'm trying to figure out, where this address is because the guy didn't text me the address. So I look up the car. I notice that, it's with this type of dealer. In this area, the first thing on the list is that dealer, so we're going to go there. So we drive in, say, hey, I'm Ryan. I have an appointment. This is the guy's name that I talked to, and we were interested in looking at car stock number ABCDEFG.
He says, right, perfect, that's really specific, so I'll go ahead and we'll find the car for you. Here's your representative, they're going to take some information.
So I fill out their form, I talk to him a little bit about what we're looking for. I give him the expectation of we really just want to see this one car, unless you guys have other things that are in stock at this budget listed price, but we didn't see anything online. So let me know if there are other deals available. So I say, all right, we're good. We'll just wait for the car. About 15-20 minutes pass, and I'm not getting any information back. So I start looking at my phone because me and Nicole have already talked about what our budget was, and we had some pretty good conversations over the few days. And I see I have like 2 or 3 missed calls and a text message with an address. So I look up the address. It's another dealer that's that's like not even 2 miles away in the same city. So I'm like, oh crap, we went to the wrong dealership. And that must be what the problem is. They don't have the car here. So I tell Nicole, we say, all right, so what should we do? So let me go talk to these guys, see what they're doing about this car situation. If they're like in the middle of driving over here with the car, then we'll wait for the car to get here. And if the car is still over there, because the guy says he has a test driver waiting to come in for it, then we're going to go over there. So I talked to my rep.
Yeah, everything's fine. So the car is just in another area. We're getting it over here. It should be like 15 minutes max. While you're waiting for it, do you want to check out another car? I think it's going to be pretty good for your budget. And I think you guys are probably going to like it even better than the other ones.
So I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, we can check out another car. So I asked for the details of it. I asked for the make, the model, the mileage, general things about the car, and, what the price is. So when I look at my phone, I look at, I have a different address. And it's a different dealer of the same name in the area, not even 2 miles down the road. So I give the guy a call and I say, hey, yeah, I was looking for the address, but I just got a text message like 10 minutes ago. So he just came to the first dealer in the name that was on the list, and this was it.
It's like, oh no, you should have come to us. Just come to us. We have the car so that you can test drive it, and we're going to be holding it here.
These guys want us to do a test drive of one of their vehicles. I'll not make a deal with them, and I'll come over test your car, and then we'll decide at that point what we want to do. And at this point, we were outside about to walk up to the car. It was this weird seafoam green color. It was a compact car, pretty similar to what we were looking at. It was newer. It had less miles. So I'm assuming, okay, it might just be the compact car is less expensive, and maybe this is just not a great car. So yeah, sure, we'll check it out. So we're decided we're just going to do a test drive with this car that the dealer brought up. He's given me some details of it, but not a lot. And I'm not feeling great about working with people who have at this point lied to me about the status of the car. They said it was simply at another shop. It's going to be here in a couple minutes. I just talked to that shop, and they said it's going to stay here for you to test drive it. We get out to the car, and I start asking some general questions while I'm doing a walk around. It was a compact vehicle, high efficiency, newer year, lower mileage. So the natural question that comes out is, what's the listed price of this vehicle? And the sales guy says,
I'm not too sure, actually. I'll have to look at the stock in the back and then deflection into something else about some of the features of the vehicle.
Pretty standard. So, again, when we're getting into the car, I asked him, so do you know the range of price for this car? You know our budget. Is it close to our budget? And he said,
yeah, it's definitely going to be able to work within your budget. It's not going to be a problem at all.
So I proceed, while we're doing the test drive, to ask multiple questions. Is it in our budget? And he gives me...
I forgot the sale amount. I'm not sure. Or I'll have to look it up when we get back. That'll be the first thing we do. And it's definitely around the budget that you gave us. It's not going to be a problem.
So at this point, I don't feel pretty good about the car. It's not blowing my mind. It's lower miles, higher efficiency, and newer year. But it's obviously going to be more expensive than we want it to be. Obviously to me, because he's withholding information from us. And he's not being forthright. He's not being upfront with me, so I don't feel respected in that regard. So when we get back, I don't even care what his number is. I tell him, out of our budget, we're gonna pay you 80% of it, and that's what I would pay for this car. The color is awful. I found this list of problems during the test drive. I'm not too ecstatic about this car, and I think you wasted a lot of our time. So this is the price I'd pay for this car. And he says, yeah.
All right, let me go check out the budget and check out the sale price, and I will let you know.
So he multiplied our budget by 1.5, and I had that feeling going in. We left, all right? It's like, all right, cool. So we're not interested in this car. We're going to go test drive the other car. Thank you. Leave. At that point, it's just business. When they disrespect you like that, just leave. It's not even worth saying goodbye. So we're off to the next one, the place that we actually purchased this vehicle from, and we talked to them. We researched this car online. We figure out some of the major points to it. We decide to print out a checklist for this vehicle specifically, as well as some of the major points that you want to check on these specific vehicles to make sure it doesn't have any major maintenance issues. So we meet up, we shake hands, we talk about the price, the mileage. They pull the Carfax for us, the history of the car, what type of maintenance they had to do on it prior to being able to certify it as a viable vehicle, but it is going to be an as purchased. We go through the full ChrisFix checklist. We do a test drive. We do a couple more walk-arounds, and then we talk about the price for the vehicle. Both me and Nicole really liked it overall. It works perfectly for what we need. It's comfortable, it's compact, it has storage. It's basically a direct replacement of our old car with less miles, newer model, and it's going to be able to do the high efficiency gas that we are expecting. So overall, we get down to it. We settle on a price pretty quickly. It actually made us pretty uncomfortable how quickly they said yes. So we stepped back for a little bit. We talked about it, and we decided we'll make it contingent on a maintenance review or on our own mechanic reviewing the car. So we'll pick up the car, we'll go to an independent mechanic, we'll give you guys a deposit so that we can hold on to this car as a deal, hold on to this deal. and we'll proceed from there. So we pick up the car, and we go over, we do a much longer form test drive. So we take 4 hours in order to get the mechanic to review everything. The mechanic needs about 30 to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour at a fee, under $100 for the checkup. And they're going to check all the major components. But I want to do a full checkup on everything that I hadn't had a chance to look at. So I'm doing a full-on inch-by-inch review of this entire car. Nicole's also helping me with that. We're testing all of the systems in it, making sure everything is working exactly as it should be. And we're pretty happy about everything we found. We only found a couple of scratches, couple dents, no big deals, no red flags. And our mechanic said the same thing. The only thing they found was a nail in the tire, and that could have happened at any point. So we go back to the dealer, we say, hey, there was a nail in this tire, and that was it. Everything else was pristine, so we will take the car at this point. Both me and Nicole have signed off on it. We're comfortable with it. We're ready to go. It's been a couple days, and we're ready to make this deal happen. So let us know when you can have that tire replaced. We'll come pick up the car. We'll have the cash in hand. We'll pass it off to you. We'll pick up the car. We'll go. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. A couple of days of just coordination between us picking up the car and figuring out when we're dropping off the rental, things along those lines. And we have a new car. It was actually on my birthday. On the Saturday, we went to the Big E with some friends. We picked up the car, and after that, we dropped it off at the house and went off to the Big E, and it wasn't a big deal after that. We had a vehicle. One thing that I can say, if you're making a large transaction over a debit card or credit card, make sure you know what your transaction limit is. Because for our card, it was like $4,000, and our budgeted, the amount we were spending on this vehicle was more than that. So we had to call up our card servicer, say, hey, I would like to get my limit temporarily increased per transaction per day so that I can buy a large transaction. And you can only do that the day of, because they can do it for a 24-hour period after the call. So that's one thing to consider whenever you're making a large transaction. We ended up just doing cash, a stupid amount of cash, just going up, here's the cash, go ahead and count it, and we're done with the deal, kind of deal. So it was nice. It was an interesting transaction. We had a couple of little side things. We picked up plates, picked up spare keys that the dealers were making for us. And we were ready to go, and we purchased the car. So that's pretty much our overall car buying experience. I need to get back home first so that, I can continue my day. And then we'll talk a little bit more. But I figure we'll go the scenic route around the neighborhood and just kind of enjoy a little bit more this Sunday. So today is a really great day for a drive or a walk. It's a beautiful, roll the windows down kind of day. I'm going to enjoy this. Talk to you soon. So thank you for listening to all of my rants or skipping forward. Either way, I enjoy the end of these videos. So I'm just going to kind of summarize all of the points into 5 really simple, straightforward steps if you're looking for a vehicle. These are just lessons that we learned along the way so that you don't have to learn them while you're looking for a car in a very stressful situation. So the very first thing we learned is that you need to have an absolute budget. So in our situation, we decided before we got in any car lot, we were going to pay cash for whatever vehicle we purchased. That cash vehicle could not exceed the amount we had available in our emergency fund, as well as some cash that we had set aside inside of our checking account for other bills, entertainment, things like that, that we decided were worth the sacrifice to get a better quality car in the short term. So once your budget is decided, the next step is simply to figure out what your scope is when you're purchasing this vehicle. So this dollar figure, this number, is going to define the make, the model, the mileage, how old your car is going to be, and what type of features you can expect to get on your vehicle. So you need to have a dollar figure, and then you can decide those different factors in order to figure out your overall scope for your vehicle. This is going to decide if you're going to go to dealers, if you only can do private sales, if you can only do Facebook Marketplace versus Craigslist. That's pretty much going to be your deciding factor. So this is why it's number one. The next major factor is going to be your time of getting a car, or your time of car purchase horizon, however you want to phrase it, how much time you have until you actually need a vehicle. So in our situation, it was an emergency. We needed a vehicle after the course of 1 week, but we also had to purchase that week in the form of purchasing a rental vehicle. So we purchased a rental car using some of our emergency fund in order to buy more time so that we can make a better decision. And that's one good reason why you need to have a budget set aside first. When you can spend money to gain additional time to make right decisions, you're going to be able to make better decisions. So time is a huge factor. So this is something you need to consider. If you're going to get a car out of, excessive amounts of time, you're doing it not out of necessity, but out of something that you just are looking to do over the course of like a month, then you can just say, all right, we're going to take 2 or 3 days off of work. We're going to go check out vehicles over that course of time. Here's our budget. It's higher than typical. And we're going to go check out dealers, and only dealers. So you can do private sale. It just involves a lot more work up front and on the back end. If you're going to be doing dealers, I highly recommend taking a couple days off work in order to go to the dealership during the 8 to 5, not on Friday, not on Monday, just doing it over the course of the actual work week so that you have enough time to make solid decisions about what car you want to purchase. Overall, this second one just basically means keep your options open and make sure you have the most options available whenever it comes to a car purchase. Dealers and private sellers are going to tell you that multiple people are coming in every single day in order to look at this vehicle, and you have to hold steadfast about what you feel comfortable for. We missed out on one deal that was really amazing because we decided we didn't know enough information at the time to make a proper decision. It's the first car we saw. And we feel good about that decision overall because we don't know everything about that car at that time. The person who walked in, bought the car, maybe they're doing great, maybe they're not. I'd put it at 50-50, maybe a 60-40 if I'm feeling generous. But time associated with your car buying purchase is going to be essential for you feeling good about that first oil change or the first breakdown you have on your vehicle. So always consider purchasing more time if you need it, or using as much time as you can possibly use. The third thing that you're going to want to do whenever you're looking for a vehicle is use all of the online and non-in-person resources that you have available. So first, you're going to want to make absolute sure that you are using all of your online resources. That means Car Gurus, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and any dealer website that you possibly can touch to figure out what cars are available in your area, how you can take best advantage of those deals, and since you have everything defined as far as your scope, at least the year and mileage expectations that you have for your vehicle, with those filters, you can figure out what cars work for you, figure out where they are, and schedule visits. So this is going to be crucial. The last note on this point, number 3, is that you want to make sure you know if the car is physically there right now. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and Car Gurus are not exactly perfect at timing when a car is purchased. As well as dealers also take 1 to 2 days in order to update their website. So if you call a dealer, they may say, yes, we have 3 cars that are unlisted right now, and you can come in right now, check them out. You'll be the first one to check any of them out before they're even actually on the marketplace. So really call ahead, make sure that the car is there, make sure all the resources and the expectations you have are met, and answer any questions that you're looking for before you even step foot on any lot or any person's public property. As well, in this section, make sure you're picking public places in order to do test drives. Do not go to private yards in order to do test drives. Don't roll up to someone's house and say, I would like to test drive your vehicle, and don't let anybody roll up to your house and say, I would like you to drive my vehicle for me. You need to go out to a public location, mutual agreement. This is where we'll meet at this time in order to test the vehicle if it's not a dealer. If it's a dealer, you just go to the dealership. It's not a big deal. So schedule your time. This is number 4. Schedule your time so that you hit as many places as physically possible. Especially if you're going to be taking off work in order to do this, you need to be highly efficient with how much time it takes to get in between locations, when you're going to take a break in order to eat, and where you're going to eat at that level of granularity. Because one thing you want to consider is if you're late to any of your appointments, it's not a big deal, especially if you're dealing with dealers. If you're dealing with private sellers and you're late to your appointments, it's going to be a huge deal because that person took time out of their day in order to sell a car, and that's not their main job. But if a dealer sets up a time with you, they expect you to show up within the hour, and it's not a huge deal. And if you have another appointment with someone else, it's a huge crux. It's a huge point of power for you to say, you have 30 minutes, give me your best offer on this car, or I'm leaving because I have another appointment with another car at this dealer with this address with this guy's name, and that's how it's going to roll. You give me the best deal right now or else I'm leaving. They know what it means when you leave the lot. It means you're not going to be a customer of theirs, more likely than not. So they want to keep you as much as possible. They will give you the best deal as soon as they can, and if not, they can bid over the phone. It's fine. But make sure you have your schedule set out hour by hour. It doesn't have to be in 15-minute increments, but give each dealer 1 hour in order to figure out what the worth of that car is for them. That way you always have an incentive to move on, to sleep on the deals, and you can always say, I have another appointment, I have to leave right now. Regardless if it's 100% true, you don't feel comfortable in an area, you say, hey, I have another appointment in 30 minutes, and it takes me 20 minutes to get there, so I'm going to go ahead and leave right now. Sorry for the poor planning, I'll be back. Maybe I won't, but you can just give me a call whenever you're ready to make a proper deal with me. And the final point is, do not let the dealerships pressure you into time-sensitive or budget-sensitive situations. So the number one thing you want to make sure you're courteous about is telling the dealer what your position is. If you're paying cash for a car, you want the car today, you expect to purchase it today, or you expect to sleep on it today, let them know what your mindset is when you walk on the lot. If you have any particular expectations, like this is the stock number of the car that I want to look at, and anything similar in that price range, plus minus 10%, tell them, and they better respect it. And if they respect it off of like a 10% or 15%, not a big deal. But if they start multiplying your budget by non-insignificant figures like 1.5, 2, 3, 5, 7, cut them off. If these guys do not respect you because you have the cash, you have the buying power, you have the incentive, you have all of the cards here, they only have the car. That's their only ticket. If you want their car, then they have you. But if they want to sell the car, which is much more likely, you have them. So keep your cards close to your chest. Let them know what they need to know. Here's my budget. Here's how I plan on paying for it. Here's what I expect of you. Do you have something that's in that range? And can you serve me today or tomorrow? The other thing you want to make sure you're not doing is letting dealerships waste your time. If they get you to sit down, drink some coffee, eat some pretzels or popcorn for like 30 minutes, they know that you're not going to leave over short term because you spent so much time there. So what you need to do is make sure every 10-15 minutes you check in with your representative, ask them how they're servicing you right now, and make sure that something is on the way physically on the way at this time, or you walk and you'll come back later. Tell them, okay, cool, I will take a lunch break, and they will either say, but it's going to be here in 20 minutes. And if they mean that, they mean that. If they don't mean that, they say, crap, can I put you in something else while we wait? And I've seen that. You can check out this time code in the video to learn that story. But essentially what you want to really consider is how much time they're trying to waste, because they know if they keep you there longer, you're more likely to just go with what they have available right now. You're going to go with what the momentum of time has been set for you. So you don't want to waste time at dealerships. The other consideration is if you spend more time at dealership A, you have less time at dealership B. And that's why it's critically important to schedule out your dealerships. So do not spend time, do not let them set your schedule and tell you to wait. If they tell you to wait, tell them you're coming back later. And that's pretty much where you're going to leave it. The other major thing is do not do business with people who do not respect you. If you have a statement, if you have a budget, if you have an expectation that you made clear to them at the very beginning of this transaction, and they are not respecting that in the form of, okay, let me see what I can do, 30-minute wait, or I'm not sure we can meet that, 30-minute wait, or here's a lecture on how that's not good enough. If they give you a lecture at all, leave. But if they're not respecting you as a customer, and as a person, as an adult with money who's wanting to spend it on their product, leave. Because you don't do business with people who do not respect you. So get out of there. It's not worth your time. Just leave. There's other dealerships. There's other cars. They make more cars, I promise. There's going to be another car. Maybe you have to drive an extra 10 minutes to get there, but it's much more worth it than waiting 30 minutes to an hour messing with this dealer who is not going to be servicing you well and not respecting you the entire way. You won't feel good about the transaction at the end of the day, and they will feel fantastic about what they did to you to get your money. So do not do business with people who do not respect you. And that's just life. That's just life right there. That's just life advice. Do not do business with people who don't respect you or your statements. The physical review of a vehicle, I'm going to leave to ChrisFix because he does a fantastic job in his series about how to buy a used car of showing you exactly what you need to do. His goes over a private sale or deal, but you really can use all of these tips in order to interact with dealerships as well. So go ahead and check out all of it. It's really entertaining. He does a great job of talking, and he's from New Jersey, so he's close enough to where maybe I can meet him in person. Probably not. I'm not a car guy. So he's a fantastic YouTuber. He has amazing content, and it's just entertaining to watch his content. Go ahead and check out that series if you're interested in knowing exactly how to spec out a vehicle, to figure out what the history of the vehicle is going to be, to look for the red flags and the best expectations you can have for a vehicle. If you're interested in knowing how to do the test drive, how to look up the history of a vehicle, and how to negotiate a car, this is going to be a great resource. So go ahead and click over, check out his videos. But overall, I'm really happy that you made it to the end of this video. If you're just here for the tips, thank you so much. Let me know what was the most informative, most important tip in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed some of my horror stories, please let me know if you've had any horror stories of car dealerships or dealing with private sellers. I love that kind of content, even though it all hurts us on the inside. Leave it down in the comments down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new here and enjoy some of this content, hit the subscribe button for a much shorter video next time, for sure, maybe. And we talk about family, fitness, and finance-centered goals inside of our little humble abode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.